Uranium fever has gone and got me down. Uranium fever is spreading all around. With a Geiger counter in my hand.
Hello everybody, Tohami Pro here. Welcome to my Fallout 4 video on the things that Fallout 4 gets right. Now don't get me wrong, there are things that Fallout 4 does not get right, and I will have a separate video that should be up either today or sometime soon. Okay, now the first thing that I believe Fallout 4 did right was the weapon customization. It isn't necessarily anything super special, but because there's a lot of other games that have recently came out that have good weapon customization, but it didn't really fall on its face. It was pretty good, and it matched well with the open world looting and everything like that. It really made it so that when you find items that, for an example in Skyrim, you just leave where you found it, you would actually take it, and there might actually be something you can do with it, which I believe made it pretty good. And also, the pipe weapons, even though when you first get them, they're pretty shitty, but I like how highly customizable they are, because just changes the way you play. Because for an example, this is a pipe rifle that has night vision scope, and that changes how I play. As you can see here, it doesn't look very well in close settings like this, but in other situations it would be very useful. Okay, now the next thing that I like, this is more arguable, but I thought it had a really good prologue. It was kind of boring at first, but I thought that when the bombs started to drop, it became pretty cool, because it's something you never really saw before, I don't think. And Fallout 3 didn't really show you before the bombs dropped, and it didn't show what was actually happening, how many people were kept out of the vault. We all kind of knew that, obviously, by finding dead people around, but I thought it really added a new layer to the story. And it also, again, it was just cool, having the sirens go, and then the bomb just barely touching you. I thought that was it was cool, and I don't think it hurt at all, even though the very first part was kind of slow. This is another arguable thing, but I thought that they did good with the Brotherhood of Steel. Obviously, they did better in the game, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, because that was kind of shit from what I hear. But they were just they really show how big of a faction they are. Because, yeah, Fallout 3, I think if you really played it, you would see that they're really badass. They have that giant robot, stuff like that. But I think having the airship and all the references to the Capital Wasteland, it just showed how big of an organization the Brotherhood of Steel are. And of course in New Vegas, they're not really anything special, but in this, trust me, they show that the Wasteland is actually more advanced than you would think, because it's been a few hundred years, I think, since the bombs fell. 200. So yeah, logically people would advance during that time, and Brotherhood of Steel is an example of that. I think this is one of the most important things, but the world has a lot of detail in it. And what I mean by that is that some people, they might not find it to be have a better open world than Skyrim or something like that. But you do have to admit that there are a lot of quests for you to do, and I'll get to that in my other video, because I personally don't like all of the quests they have. I find them to be kind of bland, but there is a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of different stories in every little small alleyway and stuff like that. I was literally just traveling from point A to point B, and I found these random events that were actually interesting and weren't just you couldn't tell that they are supposed to happen. They just it seemed to make sense. And you can also get ambushed, like I just did, by a whole bunch of raiders, which makes you more careful about what locations you go to. Next thing I really like, and I think was one of the most important things, is that they don't force base building down your throat. I personally like base building. It isn't the best thing ever, but I think that it's interesting, It's not perfect, but it doesn't take away from the game, if you ask me. But it isn't really for everyone, and some people might just want to play the way they play in Fallout 3. Of course without mods, because there are a whole bunch of mods that let you do this. But it didn't force you to do it, as far as I know. I did hear that at some point it does kind of tie into the main story, but I'm not at that point yet, and I didn't notice that. They don't force you to do it. In fact, they really don't tell you much about it. They just tell you that you press Q to open the workshop, and then you kind of can build stuff. The last thing I like about Fallout 4 are the way they handled the synths. We obviously kind of got like a sneak peek in Fallout 3 with Dr. Zimmer, but in Fallout 4 they made them like these cool Terminator people, and yeah, they are kind of similar to the Terminator, but if you think about it, it is really the same idea. They're still synthetic humans that are meant to kill people, and I thought that they made it really cool. They also made it cool how in like Diamond City, everyone's all paranoid about the synths. I think it added a lot of backstory to like how the synths are affecting the people. And yeah, in combat they're pretty scary at first. They're not like I think they leveled correctly. They're difficult, but they're not like a boss battle or anything. And I think it just all around is cool. There are definitely negatives, don't get me wrong, and I will have probably a longer video with the negatives, and I might have a review, I don't know. But stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more Fallout 4 videos. Comment, of course. Subscribe, all that stuff. Peace.